They need to keep that Murasoka. This is the guy that helped dispose of Savannah Soto, I think. The guy that killed that pregnant mom and dad and the baby, that's him. That's his ass right there. Excuse me for cussing, YouTube.
Just give me one moment to review these records.
He needs to rot in there. What's good, Daniel Hayes? Yeah, this is for that Matthew Guerra and Savannah Soto out of San Antonio. This guy freaking helped his son hide the bodies and shit. Fucking asshole. Hope he gets denied.
In the past, did you want to withdraw states exhibits 3 through 5, or just want to keep them as part of the record?
I'll keep them as part of the record, Your Honor.
There will be so. Anything else from either side?
Nothing to say. Nothing to say.
And this matter's good.
What? What did he say?
That low, my client would also appreciate any sort of reduction, but clearly
Evidence that was admitted in when we had our last hearing. Firearm-related offense. What has changed at this point that would justify and warrant us drastically reducing the bond as the defense is asking?
They're waiting for his ass. They want him. They want to give that full bond so he can come out here. Okay, I don't see why they put that on.
Is Beyonce a witch?
The fact that people keep saying I'm crazy, hell, the situations that
Let's get into it.
Crazy.
Kimberly Thompson says she is tormented from being put
Who else
under
thinks Beyonce's
sexual
a witch?
spells by Beyonce.
She's accusing her of dark magic, witchcraft,
Yo.
accusations of witchcraft,
What's the
extreme
deal, man?
witchcraft.
Ask
Thompson
me.
claims
What's the question?
Beyonce, she refers to as this person, has started a campaign of harassment against her that includes extreme witchcraft, dark magic, and magic spells of sexual molestation.
Shout out
Extreme
BJ
witchcraft and
Investigates.
magic spells.
Extreme witchcraft and dark magic to torture her. She says that Beyonce has been using her magic to run surveillance and control
Who else
this
thinks
drummer's
Beyonce's a
finances.
She also claims Beyonce murdered her kitten after the singer put a spell on her.
They were like, the cat has a spell on it. The cat was taken back to her people. Like, and they
They point to hand signals like this as an example of her communicating cryptic messages.
we're talking about
What's the
other
question?
situations where changing into animals and jumping into other bodies and all.
You have a question? What's the question? Yo, Dex, I have a question. Yo, Tomazio. Yo, Tomazio, what's the question?
Kinds of really crazy stuff.
Bulging muscles and contorted face.
She's even encouraged other celebrities to also steal and copy my ideas.
How do you prove she's a witch? Do you put her in like a big tank of water? So what? How does that work?
This has been going on since 2006, so this has been a complete nightmare.
And called spirit cooking, because spirit cooking is my work since I do it since 90s.
You started using BandLab? Yeah, bro, BandLab's dope. BandLab is very convenient, and BandLab is so diverse, and you can use BandLab in many different ways for podcasts, for doing voiceovers, for music, for the next step is them with videos, and then I won't have to go anywhere else. That's BandLab's next step.
Please do not send any hate or honestly comments of any kind to anyone mentioned in this video on behalf of me or yourself. The purpose of this video is
I would
to
say
give my
stick with
commentary
it, man.
opinion on matters
I'm
of public
getting the hang of it
concern.
now. If
Recently, it came to my attention that a former employee of Beyonce had sued her, tried to get a restraining order
Hell
from
no,
her in
bro.
2018
No, I
over
wouldn't.
allegations of extreme black magic and witchcraft. So obviously,
I wouldn't charge at all, bro. Find me on BandLab. Just go to Dex Buffet. It's gonna be the only guy there. And send me something, bro. I got you.
I started investigating, and honestly, it left me with a lot more questions than answers. Let's get into it. So first off, I want to start with the lawsuit itself, the legal paperwork filings. These extreme witchcraft allegations come from court filings, but not exactly the type of lawsuit that you would expect. The document itself is actually an application for a restraining order. There's two. There's one for a temporary restraining order, and then there's one for a more long-term order. In California, like in most states, you can get an emergency restraining order off the bat, but then you have to actually go to court and make a case, like do a little trial, a little hearing in order to get the permanent one. So the temporary one you can get quicker without a lot of evidence and stuff, but then you have to get a long-term one if you want it to keep going. Okay, so I have those documents in my folder.
And no, I wouldn't charge you, bro.
We're gonna probably have to blur out. I mean, probably ain't gonna be able to show you any of this first page and all that.
Hey, babe.
But I have here the temporary restraining order, and then I have the long-term one or whatever. So, starting with the first one that the court would need to decide upon is the temporary one. It was denied. It was dismissed. But I do want to just read a couple things from it. So the first 2 pages are pretty much just personal information, and then you get to the first allegation, actual thing she's alleging, and she says, well, first of all, she's writing in the section where you would kind of say, like, my animals need to be protected, and this would be like if you share an animal with somebody, you know, temporary, something like that, or someone actually harmed your animal or something like that. So she put it in that section, and she said, who's they, I do not know, because Beyonce is the only one listed as the respondent in this. From what I can see, I mean, I don't know, you tell me, but it says they, whoever that is, put a magic spell on my kitten and killed her after her attacking me for 3 months. Well, that's all it says. Like, there's really no more allegations on the whole file. I mean, you tell me. And then at the very end, it just says denied. But this is only the temporary.
Nah, you gotta do it on BandLab. You can find me under Dex Buffet.
Things, not trying
like
to be
a
mean
buffet,
and stuff.
like
I know some people
like a
believe
restaurant,
in
Dex
magic and
Buffet.
stuff, but I don't think this is necessarily enough to get a restraining order to just say somebody put a curse on your kitten and the kitten died. But that's not to say that the person who filled this out didn't really believe it. I'm not saying she's lying. She probably maybe believed it or whatever. But anyway, it gets denied. So I tried to start redacting and I couldn't. We're just gonna not be able to show y'all the full. We maybe just can show you the title at the top but anyway, so that's the temporary. Well, I'm gonna pass them to y'all. So it was denied, but
You'll find me, it'll be like a cartoon version of me, a very skinny cartoon version of me.
Magical spell on my kitten is something that I think is a little bit
But iamdex on all other platforms.
Proof.
You can find all my songs, but to collab, yeah, on BandLab is Dex.
Just saying it, I probably deny it too. So not
send me
surprisingly,
something, doggy. I got
got
you.
denied, but there still was the permanent restraining order to contend with. And she did fill out a form for that as well. And that one made more allegations that are a little bit more like the type of allegations you might expect to traditionally find in a restraining order request. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. This one filed the same day, September 19th.
This is all about Beyonce, dude.
On that
like,
first page, it's a bunch of personal information we can't show y'all.
Everybody's ignoring
But these are
this.
public records. You can go get these yourself. I'm just, for the purposes of this platform, I'm not showing it. So the bottom of that permanent restraining order page, she says, my former employer uses extreme black magic and witchcraft and wants to own everything I have and keep me controlled under her witchcraft and black magic,
right?
And has been successful since 2006 to current. So this like 12 years that's been ongoing. This lady's been under Beyonce's witchcraft. That's what she said right here. Okay.
That's what she says.
Then you go to the next page, and this is the part where she's supposed to be describing her relationship to Beyonce. How does she know Beyonce even, right? And she says, I worked for her as her drummer for her band for 7 years. So I did do a little bit of looking into this.
So she did a lot of witchcraft on you.
Substantiation to whether or not that was
She did a lot of witchcraft on her.
It does appear, I found some receipts. There's these two articles, this one and then this web archived one, which do kind of show that she was a drummer for Beyonce for at least some time. One of them's from 2014. There's also videos around the internet of her.
The last 6 years I toured with Beyonce. That was fantastic. Got a chance to meet Jay-Z and Kanye West.
So then after that, the form prompts Kimberly to describe the harassment, and she does so. She just says, when did it happen? And she put the day before, September 18th. And it said who was there and, describe it or whatever. She says, black magic, witchcraft, SUL magic, stalking, extreme all caps, black birds following me around, paying off past employers to fire me and steal my intellectual property. And then right after that, paying off past employers. So I start noticing a little bit of a pattern emerging where some of these allegations are far-fetched, I'll say. It's a hard sell for me to believe that Beyonce's making a flock of blackbirds follow somebody, or specifically that. I mean, she makes other allegations about insects
Hey, they say
elsewhere,
birds ain't
but then
even
it's
real.
like other real allegations in here that for sure happen, and it are grounds for this, like stalking and harassment, like black magic. How are you going to get a restraining order for black magic? You better go to the witch court. The question asks who was there. So she answers her husband, her sister, often, her mother, and other employees. So Beyonce's family was there, allegedly. The next page, number 7, how did the person harass you? And again, it's more of the same thing about the witchcraft extreme. I would like to know the tiered list of I want to know what's the rubric for extreme versus regular versus mild. You know what I mean? Actually, I don't want to know. Keep it to yourself. Don't tell me. Extreme. This was the extreme variety. Witchcraft, dark magic, extreme stalking, magic spells on my kitten. It just goes back and forth, right? Dark magic and then stalking and magic spells. Like one of these things ain't like the other. If this is an IQ test type of thing. Spells on my kitten and then killed my kitten. Extreme SUL magic on me, stalking my travels, paying her employers to manipulate jobs and fire her. Now this says taping my phones, but I don't know if she meant tapping or taping, so I'm just gonna read it as it's written, taping her phones. Controlling my finances, bank accounts. Controlling her finances and bank accounts is weird. She is claiming in this restraining order request that Beyonce Knowles, Giselle Knowles Carter, is controlling her finances and bank account. That's weird. Tapping my bank accounts, or taping my bank accounts, stalking my social media accounts, stalking my homes since 2006 to current. Then they say, did the person threaten to use any type of weapon? Then she just goes on and continues describing symptoms, I guess. Extreme exhaustion, magic spells of molestation, loss of many jobs, theft of homes, large losses of money, theft of computer hard drives, right? It's like, okay, wait, I don't think the witchcraft is causing the hard drive theft. These are two different styles of allegations in my experience. So that's just what I'm just reading it to y'all. Again, extreme theft of intellectual property. Murder of my kitten, magic spells, lovers, numerous broken relationships. Were you injured? Yes. Extreme spiritual spells, molestation, stress, depression, sleepless nights, watching me shower, which is an allegation Britney Spears made in court about the abuse she suffered that she compared to trafficking in P. Diddy's neighborhood at the Bridges to Recovery.
They watched me changed every day naked, morning, noon, and night. My body, I had no privacy door for my room. I gave 8 gallons of blood a week.
She said people watched her shower 3 times a day. She's changing and people are in there watching her. And I've always gotten this twinge. Like, is she trying to say that she was trafficked there? Anyway, this video is already going to be too long, so let's get back on track. What did Kimberly say Beyonce allegedly did? She said, I take a shower, the magic is stalking me, loss of appetite, loss of music and computer and career and education. The harassment is constant. She sends her flying, we're back to they, whoever they is. They send flying monkeys, narcissism attacks, something mental stability. They send physical contacts are being sent to emotionally manipulate me and stalk me. Blackbirds again, tapping my phone calls, calling from unlisted different numbers, witchcraft against me.
Okay, that girl was crazy.
Some of these are grounds for a restraining order. Harassing someone with a bunch of calls from unknown numbers is a good thing to include in here. You know, there's some of this stuff, but then some of it's like the blackbirds. I mean, that's the one, it's the insects and the blackbirds. Okay, so then she puts showing up as my Uber and Lyft driver. And it's unclear to me if she means that literally. Like, she might mean that they are paying people to show up as her Lyft drivers, or they're intercepting.
Nah, that girl was crazy, but I'm not gonna put it past Beyonce.
Beyonce shows up as the Lyft driver, which it doesn't feel credible to me. If I'm a judge, I'm not going to say that's credible. Maybe none of not one of these words. I mean, if you look at everybody else with the popular opinions, none of this is 0% is true. And so that is the common belief. I am in the mid investigation into whether she is or is not. I have not made my mind up. So we're trying to debunk it because I think she's probably not a witch. Okay, and then this is where she says the thing about the insects. It's just like, I don't get it. Some shows up as workers in common areas of the grocery stores, stalking my home, children, bird, and stalking my home as other children, birds, and insects. So I guess Beyonce is shapeshifter somehow in this. I mean,
other situations where changing into animals and jumping into other bodies and all kinds of really crazy stuff.
You know who that sounds like? That sounds like Orlando Brown.
Application. Okay. And again, what I'm reading here is the
that sounds like that, like the shit that Orlando Brown be saying.
But the only thing she said in the whole entire temporary restraining order application was Beyonce put a magical spell on my cat, and the cat got poisoned and died. There was no stalking, harassment. None of these other words were in there, so it got denied. And then this is the permanent attempt at it, which was filed the same day. She ordered.
But wait a minute. For a minute, just think about this. Orlando Brown. A lot of people said he was crazy, and he said stuff like this. Like, we got to remember, Orlando Brown said exactly what this crazy lady said, exactly what the type of shit that she just said right now, and people call him crazy. But this lady was able to go to court with this, and then too, this lady that she's talking about right here, she didn't even show up to court. Like, she did not even show up to court. So
again, the spell on the kitten, she goes back into the kitten. The kitten was attacking her and all that. So, I mean, here's that one. Okay, so bizarre, to say the least. And all that gets filed on September 19th, 2018. The temporary restraining order is dismissed, like I said, because she just said the kitten got a spell on it. That's not really grounds for a temporary restraining order. And then she made some more serious allegations in the permanent restraining order. And then the court sets a hearing for a little trial on the permanent restraining order. And that is put on the calendar to happen on October 11th. But in between the filing for the restraining order and the hearing that was set to happen about a month later, all hell breaks loose in the media about Beyonce.
Look at the hand gestures, though.
Bizarre
She's
allegations,
extra
like the lady
with
who went to court accusing Beyonce of practicing
Illuminati.
extreme witchcraft.
Everybody from the tabloids to the traditional media was posting about this extreme witchcraft allegation and weighing in with their opinion.
But there is some people.
They were interviewing
real
life, actual self-reported witches to get them to weigh in on that.
They literally, there is people that do that, and sometimes stuff couldn't even like go in their favor. You never know.
So, are you considering yourself a witch?
Oh, I am a witch. For everybody to.
Should I be scared?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know, because you know they tell me Beyonce's a witch and shit like that. That we should be scared. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She's an Ifa. So when she wears her yellow, that's Oshun.
Oh.
You know, riches and beauty and love and all of that, which I can see why she's connected to Oshun. But yeah, so it's another kind of tradition.
For real, bro.
Like a lot of people would think it's voodoo, but it's really Ifa.
But the articles I found are all pretty much inconclusive. Like no one was able to affirmatively tell me she ain't a witch, so I still need to investigate. Like take this article right here, for example. This witch lady is kind of implying that Beyonce was being unfairly accused of witchcraft, just like the poor souls in the Salem witch trials. But then that same witch lady kind of said that a lot of witches don't think you can even be a healing witch unless you can also cast a curse. Like you can't heal the curse unless you can cast the curse. Like that's apparently one of the rules. Sometimes it's, different people have different rules, I guess. Sometimes. And then she also said the more secret that a magical spell is, the more powerful it can be. So if you want it to be really powerful, then you would keep it a secret. So you're not going to tell everybody I'm a witch, I'm doing spells. So, I mean, yeah, pretty much by the end of the article, they clearly wanted me to think Beyonce's not a witch, but it was inconclusive. Nobody was able to give me any receipts, any proof, any evidence. So I had to continue the investigation. Kimberly herself did a 16-minute long interview with the Daily Mail as well. In the meantime of before the hearing.
We don't know what else
goes on.
And in
this interview, she doubles down on the allegations. She says God is real. All this is real. She's not lying. And I mean, other than the bizarre allegations and claims she was making, she seemed like a pretty normal lady that just seemed normal. And it was like, to me, it added a little bit of credibility because somebody's putting their name and their face out here, and it's somebody who you can track down to a Wikipedia page, and she's been in the industry, and she's saying that this happened, and she's trying to cut the cord. So she's out here doing this.
She's trying to cut the cord.
It's also credible to me because she knew Beyonce in some capacity. They have these pictures together and all that. The trial date comes around just a few weeks after she files for this extreme witchcraft restraining order, and she's a no-show. She was out here doing all these interviews and all that, but she did not go to court. Nobody, in fact, showed up to court. Nobody showed up for on behalf of Beyonce either. No lawyer, just to make sure. Just nobody showed up from either side.
She settled out of court.
The case was dismissed. And if you kind of look at the case in the media and just looking it up yourself, it may slip through the cracks why it was dismissed. Because it might look like it was dismissed because it was so frivolous and so silly and so crazy.
Yeah, maybe the
but really,
like,
that's not why it was dismissed. Now, it could have been. Maybe we'll never know because nobody showed up. Maybe she was never heard from again. I'll have to look. I might have said that for hyperbolic effect. What I meant when I said that, when I said it, I think was she didn't try to do this again. Like she was out here in the media doing the whole song and dance, but she didn't make those allegations again anywhere, anyhow, that I'm aware of or that I saw. Maybe she did. Maybe I missed it.
Beyonce
so
played
we
her
never
off.
really did find out in any court evidence whether Beyonce was a witch or not. So I had to continue my investigation further. And it brought me to the idea, to the fact that these allegations against Beyonce came to my attention exactly the same time that some other very weird lawsuits making very strange and weird and bizarre allegations also came to my attention involving this group of people. Jay-Z, Beyonce's husband, Beyonce herself, P. Diddy, who we've seen, and all kind of other people we've seen and not.
Before I tried HelloFresh, I thought it was kind of pointless. I was used to just finding a recipe and going shopping.
I have made videos about on my other channels already. One of those two names Beyonce as a defendant. So this came to my attention at the same time that I'm already covering these cases that are weird and strange and making bizarre, outrageous. So it's like, wait, hold on. I'm seeing there's a whole progeny. And so I start looking it up. Come to find out, there's a lot more. But let me just talk about the two that I already covered on my channels real quick. This first one is against the 1953 trust, which is the Jeffrey Steen estate. Like all his riches, everything he owns and all of that is in this estate. It got sued back in like 2020, and it was by this lady, Charlene Latham. So he got sued, but alongside him was like 48 defendants. Jay-Z, the other Stein, we'll put a picture up. Stein, Jay-Z, and a bunch of other people. So in this lawsuit, a woman by the name of Charlene Latham makes some horrifying allegations against a huge group of defendants, including the people I just named, but also Beyonce, Kanye, Lil Wayne, and many, many more. So this lady accused these people of a, quote, sociopathic criminal enterprise involving decades of HTSA and various abuses, including financial and economic exploitation, drugging for repeated abduction and kidnap, purchase agreements for children and ownership of children, settlement agreements.
That sounds like human trafficking to me.
For trying to own their children. Look, listen, I'm just reading reading from what they had said in here, okay? The allegations also include that Steen and Stein and Jay-Z used Les Wexner's money to settle some of these allegations and then stalked the family for years to reappropriate back the money by selling those same children who they had settled with back into FOs on Epstein's properties. These are the allegations. Oh, he's like one of these rich, like big, like billionaire mogul types. What is he in? He may be Les Wexner. He owns something big, maybe like, now importantly, this lawsuit has been dismissed as frivolous, but this is what she was accusing of in 2020. And I covered this already on my channel. They used this like rich guy's money through the help of Jeffrey Epstein to settle a millions of dollar financial settlement with this family. But then as soon as the settlement was over, they just employed those same people to go and stalk them and bring them back into the FOs and like keep making their money back, basically off the people or whatever. That's the allegation. Unlawful surveillance, extortion, repeated drugging, money laundering, physical torture. And all this happened because the plaintiff's mom had refused to, quote, sell her child for use at one of J.E.'s various orgies around the world. Hiring defendants to stalk them was an allegation, and it's like, wait a second, hiring someone to stalk someone sounds kind of like hiring someone to fire someone or paying someone, using your money to get someone to do something to somebody. And then they're saying
like a bribe,
but,
basically.
Anyway, so, okay, that's the last time I have to turn. Again, I already covered that case on my channel, and there's one other I already covered as well that also mentions Jay-Z. This one doesn't mention Beyonce, but this one was filed 2 years later. So 2018, the kitten poison lady, witchcraft extreme. 2 years later, Charlene Latham, the Steens and the Steins, Jay-Z, Ghislaine was mentioned. I mean, we'll scroll through all the defendants. It's like the government of Qatar or something. I don't know, girl. I don't know. I'll just put it up here. But then 2 years after that, a third lawsuit we're going to talk about now. That one was filed against Jay-Z, Diddy, Rick Ross, and 2 Chainz. Now, in this one, the plaintiff is a man by the name of Ross Daniel Walker.
Nobody's looking at 2 Chainz, right?
At the time he met Jay-Z, and that he was exploited and used in humiliating and degrading ways by Jay-Z and his associates/friends. Now, I do have Ross Daniel Walker's allegations right here. And, importantly, again, I gotta have to keep saying this. The lawsuit I just talked about has been dismissed as frivolous, the Steens and the Steins. Dismissed as frivolous. The one with the 2018 lady didn't show up to court, so it didn't get prosecuted, okay? So far, innocent till proven guilty, okay? But then there's this Ross Daniel Walker case that I talked about. And this one's the one I made a video about on YouTube, and it got deleted. Deleted instantaneously. Well, actually not really. It was like within the first 24 hours. But it had a lot of views. It got 30,000 or something views, and poof. Literally, when I woke up the next day, it was gone. Mystery. Anyway, so in that allegation, dismissed, also dismissed as frivolous. Same thing as the case before. In these allegations, again, very strange. And it started to get to the point where it's like, wait, I haven't even seen one normal allegation against these people. It's all kind of deranged and strange. Like, what about them ladies that came out and accused Lizzo of the banana thing? Like, if that would have been accused in one of these, would have been dismissed as frivolous. I don't know.
I've been streaming for like 27 minutes.
Okay, let's see what Ross had to say. And I already covered this on my channel. Just to name a few allegations. He sued, like I said, Jay-Z, 2 Chainz, Diddy, and this is before the whole Cassie lawsuit happened. This is 2022. And also Rick Ross.
I had to get into some BJ Investigates, man. She dropped some dope content.
It's where he's got to explain why this court has authority, the jurisdiction component. And he says, human trafficking, harassed and intimidate, use for conspiracy theory, stole my art's ideas. And now I'm like, we'll put a picture up right here. I have it right here. You can look. But I'm starting to make a list about how that sounds familiar. Stealing art's ideas kind of
can't get them off your email.
Property, right? Your idea is your property from your intellect. That's what it is. And so it's like, well, so far is it that far-fetched that you would accuse anyone
I just sent what I had on my computer, bro. I have
use for conspiracy theory seems like a little bit of a dog whistle, like, oh, this is a conspiracy theory guy or something, but IP theft just sprinkled in. I don't necessarily feel convinced by a lot of this evidence. There's no Tyrone Blackburn receipts, text messages. It's some of the most heinous type of stuff too, which is makes it eerie to me. So on the part where he's supposed to put the amount in controversy, like how much he's suing for, he writes the following. Definition of character harassment. I'm seeking damage for and oppression. 20 billion. Might be 120 billion. I'll let you decide. It looks like it could be a 1. So $20 billion he wants. Okay.
$20
Again, this has
billion.
been dismissed as frivolous. The judge didn't even hear any evidence. They looked at this, took one look and threw it out. So it's dismissed. I'm not saying any of this happened. I think 20 billion seems a bit out of touch, if I could say. Then Ross, Daniel Walker, he says, I'm seeking damage because I feel like I was being harassed. At the time I was homeless. I was made famous. And use and oppression. Used in lyrics and song. Delete of memory. Used by many of his peers for song. I was being exploited. Embarrass me, bodily waste, discharged.
I'm sorry, babe. That sucks. Yeah, you'll make it.
And when I read that, it seemed like maybe that was something like molest, which was alleged in 2018. But y'all, I mean, I can only take it as literally. I don't know what bodily waste got discharged, girl. But I hope he's okay. And then next thing he says is, I'm being marginalized in social distancing, and now I am being blackballed. Psychological brainwash. I was called stupid and R-word by the person Jay-Z. Vulgar language to describe me, used for slavery. A homeless man. Well, slavery is another word for human trafficking. It's the new word for it. It's the same. It's involuntary labor, servitude.
It works the same way, right?
Anybody make shit up. Let's see what then happened with him. Anything else? Well, this was dismissed. So
you'll be all right, babe.
So we talked about 3 lawsuits just now. Or, kind of lawsuits-ish. Number 1, the restraining order by Kimberly Thompson. This restraining order was supposed to be against Beyonce, and it was dismissed. Not because it was frivolous, but because Kimberly did not show up. That's weird to me because Kimberly showed up for the news interviews for 16 minutes and did all of that, but now she's nowhere to be seen in court. The other lawsuit we talked about was the one where they have the Steens and the Steins and the plane and the island and the purchase and all of that, dismissed as frivolous.
Hey, and then we had
another case 2 years later. I've already also covered this one, which was the alleged homeless man who purported they used him, slavery and all of this, dismissed as frivolous. So that could be the end of the video. That could be it. They're all dismissed as frivolous. Beyonce's probably not a witch. Moving on. But my Beyonce as a witch investigation has to continue. Because when you look into the public record, there is an entire progeny of exactly this type of lawsuit, and it goes all the way back over 10 years ago against Jay-Z and or Beyonce with the same type of weird allegations. And many of these lawsuits also name known associates of this couple like Diddy or whoever. I'm gonna give y'all just a few examples of the many lawsuits I found. Now, all of these lawsuits are public records, which can be accessed by any member of the public. Y'all can get them. I just accessed them publicly, okay? And do not contact or send hate to anyone mentioned in this video or any of my videos. Thank you. This is meant to just show y'all what I read on the lawsuits in the public, in my opinion, okay? Innocent. Everybody's innocent, okay? So I went back about to 2015 for purposes of these examples. So let's go to August 2015. In this lawsuit, a woman by the name of Evelyn Gray sued like 46 defendants, including the literal United States of America, the certain 3-letter agency, and the LA County Department of Children and Family Services. She also sued Diddy, Wendy Williams, Beyonce, I think one of Beyonce's cousins, I don't know, all kind of other people. Now, Evelyn claimed in her lawsuit that there was a conspiracy involving these defendants where they conspired to harm her in various ways, including stalking, harassing, defaming, slandering, stealing her identity, wiretapping, using media connections to abuse her, terrorizing her, and stealing her intellectual property, including her dance moves, fashion concepts, and her singing. She specifically accuses Jay-Z, Drake, Megan Thee Stallion, and Cardi B of plagiarism and unjustly enriching themselves off of her intellectual property, including her artistic ideas. Now, this sounds similar to they stole my arts ideas in the Ross Walker, whatever, lawsuit. And here's the Evelyn Gray one. So in 2018, this drummer sues Beyonce for extreme witchcraft, doesn't get the restraining order because she doesn't show up for court. 2020, Charlene sues Jay-Z and the Steens and the Steins trying to buy and sell children. 2 years later, 2022, Ross Daniel Walker, a homeless man, sues Jay-Z and Diddy's another for slavery and embarrassing body discharge, waste, and all that. In the same year, even more allegations would follow. In November 2022, a man named Irvion Miller sued Beyonce for $900 million, alleging assault and theft. He said defendant Beyonce will not leave him alone. He also says Beyonce stole his songs. The very next month, In December 2022, Jay-Z and
Beyonce be
Beyonce are hit with
stealing-
yet another
Beyonce be
lawsuit
stealing
filed by a woman
music.
named Victoria Dillhunt.
stealing
Victoria
vibes.
alleges that the couple used their influence to deprive her of rights and organized crime against her. Then she really steers off into left field about the communist agenda and a bunch of other stuff. And this one was also dismissed as frivolous, but honestly, y'all, the lady really did not make any specific claims. It kind of might as well have been she poisoned my kitten with magic. It was really, there wasn't anything specific.
No.
She did not provide any legitimate evidence
here,
to
don't
support
get
her
on the
claims that
couch.
she was specifically harmed or harassed in some way. So I truly can see why it was dismissed on those grounds. I just did want to include it as an example. And again, y'all, I'm not saying any of this is true or any of it happened. I'm really just reporting on what was said, and I'm telling y'all what the disposition was. Anyway, the very next month after this Victoria Dillhunt lawsuit, Beyonce gets sued again for assault, trespass, battery, wrongful death, intellectual property, conspiracy, unlawful wiretap, medical malpractice, human
over here.
experimentation, enslavement, implanting devices in her body, and poisoned with date beep drugs. Now, these allegations would come from a woman named Latricia
T.I.
Laverne Brown. Again, 1 month after Victoria, which was only a month or two after Ross Daniel Walker the same year as him. We're like, bam, bam, bam.
T.I. and
Harassment,
CeeLo
stalking,
Green.
intellectual property, dance moves, song lyrics, witchcraft, mind reading. Like,
Diddy.
it's hard to differentiate what of these allegations are believable. Because it's, on the one hand, you're like, can't be, it's all these people making these absurd allegations. Something got to be true. But then on the other hand, it's like, come on, I mean, they also
don't
seem
know.
just Blackbird's bails or whatever. In court, you got to know where you are and what you're actually asking for. Like, how is a judge going to, okay, let's say it's real. Let's say magic's real, witches are real, and Beyonce is a real witch
Magic
doing real
is
witchcraft.
real.
things.
It's my
How's a
godbrother.
judge going to do anything? How's a judge even going to know? What's the test? They going to do the witch trials? That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to bring something to a judge can do something about. And even if the magic is true, the judge can't do nothing about it. That's why I'm thinking she should have stuck with the stuff the judge can do something about. Stalking, harassment, you know. I don't know. It's hard, I guess, for me to decipher. The three first ones were all pro se litigants filing on their own behalf, and they just said it all and they
this
didn't know
belongs
maybe
to
how to
BK
say it or if that was the right
Investigates. I'm
even
just
word to
reviewing it.
describe it or something. Like, could have been. Me too. I am undecided on whether Beyonce is practicing witchcraft as of this point in the investigation, and as of if any of this is true. Yeah, she came to mind a lot in Dahlia. You know, Dahlia Takali had said in that footage, in that public record, Tulsa police who have still not done an investigation, body camera footage, that she was being similar allegations. Picked RAPED. She said her mom had her hooked up to devices, monitoring her and all of that. And it's like, that sounded crazy till you realize that's what her sister does for her job, right? She's an entrepreneur that collects biometric data on people that has mental health problems or situations or whatever. Anyway, so then this one comes from Latricia, and she would make all kinds of allegations against a so-called conspiracy shrouded in a code of secrecy pyramid scheme scandal. That brings to mind a certain manifesto I've heard of recently, if you know, you know.
That's why they be
She
doing that.
alleges that she was targeted specifically by family members of Beyonce and Jay-Z, which is a
That's why they
similar
be doing
allegation
that.
we've seen before. And that they had this whole scheme to get somebody pregnant and hold the child over somebody's head or something. Girl, I don't know. The lawsuit is over like 130 pages long. I did not print that one out. But here's the kicker on that one. It has not been dismissed. Not fully. Parts of this lawsuit are still ongoing to the present day, and I am looking forward to seeing how that all turns out. And that was filed in January 2023. So that brings us all the way to this year in January 2024, when yet another person attempted to get a restraining order against Beyonce in California. For what you might be wondering, I'll tell you. Alleged, quote, threats, hiring individuals to cause her harm, and stating on social media that she intends to cause this alleged victim harm. She meaning Beyonce. Now, this restraining order request is particularly interesting to me because this exact same plaintiff also sued Diddy in a different jurisdiction just a couple months ago in March. So this right here is one of these victims, wrong victim. Shatoya, this is her restraining order request. Oh no, it is the same one. I did it right. I was right. And then this is the Diddy lawsuit. So she's suing Diddy in federal court, or she tried to, and also trying to get a restraining order against Beyonce in California. Now, the Diddy case has already been dismissed on, yet again, jurisdictional grounds. The judge just didn't have the authority to hear the case, so they couldn't. So the case got dismissed. But in that Diddy case, it was dismissed yet again on more of a technicality than any finding of fact by the judge. So it's not like the judge looked at it and said, this is so frivolous. No, the judge said, can't help you. I can't hear this here. I don't have authority over this case and these people. And the person filing for the restraining order in this case is a woman by the name of Shatoya LaRose, and she claimed that Beyonce stole her data. Among others, are certainly a bit far-fetched on first glance, I cannot help but notice that it's all starting to sound kind of familiar at this point. Like, how many of these lawsuits allege some type of data, computer, hard drive, IP theft for use in songs or lyrics or dance moves or songs or singing? We saw Kimberly Thompson claim that Beyonce tried to steal her intellectual property on page 2 of her 2018 restraining order filing. 2 years later, Charlene Latham alleged Jay-Z and others attempted to create lucrative intellectual property and developed very profitable concepts and consumer products in a diverse array of industries, quote, in her now dismissed as frivolous 2020 suit. 2 years later, we had Ross Daniel Walker, the homeless man, claiming that in 2022, his art's ideas were stolen for use in songs and lyrics. Same year, we had Irvion Miller claiming in his restraining order request that Beyonce watches him in his house, just like many other celebrities. And he stated that he would like to be compensated if Beyonce steals another song. In her 2024 restraining order request against Beyonce, Shatoya claims that Beyonce uses her for business and personal use unauthorized and threatened her that if she filed suit, Beyonce allegedly threatened her that she would harm her and her family using, among other things, poison, which brings us all the way back to Kimberly's poisoned cat extreme witchcraft.
Oh, man.
Or let's take the allegations of stalking or harassment, either directly by Jay-Z and Beyonce or supposedly that they hired and paid people to effectuate some type of stalking regime. Kimberly Thompson described this in 2018 restraining order filing, alleging Beyonce and Jay-Z paid employers to fire her. She also specifically alleged stalking on page 2 of the Form C-100. Charlene Latham said in her now dismissed as frivolous 2020 lawsuit that she and her entire family were stalked by hired goons for decades. In a scheme effectuated by Jeffy the Steam, using Les Wexner's money, this suit has also been dismissed as frivolous. Now, Irvion Miller said in 2022 Beyonce will not leave him alone and watches him in his house. And then Shatoya 2 years later claimed in her TRO filing that Beyonce stalks and harasses her phone contents and phone data. Then there's these allegations about controlling finances and financial exploitation. Charlene in 2020 described financial and economic exploitation in her allegations, which were dismissed as frivolous. Shatoya in 2024 makes filings that Beyonce has caused her financial loss, which she's reported to the police in an alleged scheme that's been ongoing for more than a year. And don't even get me started on how many of these lawsuits include allegations of ST, S exploitation, HT, body waste discharge, S parties, planes, and every other thing else. That's a story for another day and maybe another platform. But anyway, I could do this compare and contrast all day. There were, like I said, more suits. This is just a sampling. I just wanted to give a few examples of a few lawsuits and how a lot of these allegations, once you really inspect them, look essentially identical. So, in our investigation into whether Beyonce is a witch, we still kind of came up empty-handed, which led us to another little piece of evidence. Boom. And that is the head Serbian BIC, Marina Abramovic. What is Abramovic? I'm so used to saying Yevremovic. Now, this is not to be confused with another witch on this channel. Lima Yevremovic, I know the likelihood for confusion is uncanny, and Lima's mother's accent sounds uncannily similar. I'm talking, I could close my eyes, I wouldn't know who was talking.
Please listen, I can't go public.
My email become public.
That's interesting to me. Anyway, Marina Abramovic alleges to be a so-called performance artist. And honestly, she may very well be, but it ain't no performance I ever want to go to or see or be around or experience in any way for any reason. It looks depraved. I'll just leave it at that. I rebuke. Thus for entertainment, education purposes only. It's nasty. I hate watching her stuff. She's disgusting. She disgusts me. She is a grotesque and detestable individual.
Grotesque.
But anyway, so Marina has been prominently featured in at least one Jay-Z music video, and it is cringe and embarrassing AF. Like, I legit almost felt secondhand embarrassed for Jay-Z. Then I came to my senses, but poor thing, bless his heart, Marina is literally laughing right in his face. But that's not the only time he's been seen hanging out with her and, you know, their little crew that they hang out with. And I know y'all want me to do a whole entire video investigation on this lady, but I honestly cannot look at her face or hear her voice or look at her depraved and detestable and grotesque. I'm not calling it art. Sorry. Work product. I can't look at it for longer than a few minutes, so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do a whole investigation on her. She's deplorable. Anyway, apparently she's like good friends with like Hillary Clinton. That's, I think, what I wanted to, how it's like confirmed that Hillary did actually go.
No, you've been accused essentially of doing black magic in order to help Hillary Clinton. I mean, that's kind of
where we are with this.
Creating spirit cooking dinner
Correct.
with pig blood, basically.
Right.
Okay, this is how insanity of this election is. It's just incredible. So I have to just tell you, first of all, what is happening now. My email become public. I have to change my email. I have to change my telephone. My all credit cards are blocked.
What is she saying?
I can't take any money out. It's incredible because everything been hacked. So what happened is that
everything been hacked, does he?
You know, I have my art institute called Abramowitz Marina Institute for Long Duration Performance Art. So I've been raising the money through Kickstarter. Tony Podesta, who is the brother of
get over
Podesta,
there. Who is Hillary Clinton's campaign manager.
Exactly. He is my collector since more than 30 years of my work and friend. So he helped with donating some money to this institute, like many other people, 4,500 people to tell you. And then I had rewards, and some rewards is the dinner with me. So I invite 10 people for this dinner and called Spirit Cooking, because Spirit Cooking is my work since I do it since 90s, and it is actually poetry.
Replay poker. As many of you have seen, because I've
Somebody
streamed it
got
before,
my shit hacked because I
Replay
don't
poker.
play no damn poker.
And like, what in the world is that woman enjoying this art for? I mean, look at her. She enjoys the clowns.
What's the difference for a woman in comedy than a man in comedy? Can they do the same thing?
Comedy is okay, but clown is more difficult.
Anyway, alas. And from what everything I know about witches, I mean, if you just take one look at this woman's face, especially this side profile, I don't even think you ever had to see a witch before in your life to know for a fact Marina Abramovich is a witch. I mean, look at the chin, the nose curl, the way the black hair, the way she looks like she's gonna hurt you or something. That looks like a witch to me. But apparently, she denies that she's a witch. She said she ain't a witch. I mean, maybe she never actually said that. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe she just tried to imply it. I need to go back and see if I can get her actually denying
She's
it.
a witch.
Because that would open a whole new investigation. But anyway, she said she ain't. So for the purposes of this thing I wrote, it's inconclusive. Alas, she denies the witchcraft allegation and says that her spirit cookbook was just a book of poems that weren't meant to be taken literally.
And it is actually poetry.
But then she kind of contradicts herself a little bit in this radio interview where she literally calls that cooking style her life's work that she's been doing for 30 years. So it's inconclusive whether or not she even like meant to write that book as poetry or literal, because she was literally putting it on the walls in the museum. But I can't talk about it too much more. Anyway, it's hard to say whether her association with Jay-Z makes Beyonce a witch by association. That's basically the conclusion. But it certainly puts Jay-Z and Beyonce one additional connection point away from the most powerful politicians in this country, because Marina is a very politically connected individual. We have a whole side note podcast episode thing coming out on that later.
Hot sauce.
Really?
Yeah.
So we'll get into that later. But this kind of makes me question some of the other allegations in the various lawsuits about how like maybe the police and the government and everybody is involved in some of this scheme, because I mean, like, it's not hard to imagine that they could have those connections.
Us black folk
I don't know. Inconclusive.
Ben gave the boot to Oprah.
Guilty.
We don't claim
but
her.
I know what a lot of y'all are thinking. You're probably thinking something along the lines of this guy's comment, that these celebrities are victims of deranged and unhinged schizophrenic lunatics.
Just like
this
we don't
guy
claim
put this comment up talking
SPM.
about this is
Mexicans, we don't claim SPM. We don't claim that
something
chomo.
like that. And that's what they said about
He's a
Amanda
chomo.
Rabb. But then when you look into her allegations, supposedly so schizophrenic, it was like she was being followed and used as an experiment. And I mean, she did say some other stuff like she was cloned. But like, I don't know, some of those it's kind of like this. Like some of the allegations were serious and sincere. It wasn't like, well, we supposed to not believe anything she said. That's what they want you to do. In the current popular opinion, and even of many judges, we live in a time where if someone has a diagnosis of a certain mental illness, especially schizophrenia, then the general consensus in polite society is to essentially disregard any and everything that person ever says. It's basically encouraged to not believe a single word out of a schizophrenic person's mouth. And I don't know how we got there exactly, because I don't believe any mental health diagnosis should make you discount every word that comes out of someone's mouth. I mean, I guess unless the mental health diagnosis is pathological liar, but even still, I mean, I digress. What I find miraculous and convenient is that any time someone alleges they are being stalked, harassed, or experimented on by the government, they are assumed to be schizophrenic. In fact, it's one of the symptoms of schizophrenia that you think the government is stalking you. It's like a textbook, like this guy said, textbook. By no means am I a doctor, and I don't even play one on YouTube. Please go and seek out your own medical help. It ain't coming from me. All right, with your doctor. But hear me out. Isn't it convenient for the powers that be that there's a whole entire diagnosis, that the symptoms for which include specifically the afflicted person believes they're being monitored, stalked, or harassed with technology by the government or by anybody. And there's a very limited set of circumstances that allows the government to take away our rights without due process. And one of those circumstances is if a person has schizophrenia. Like, really think about it. A symptom of schizophrenia is thinking the government or Beyonce or whoever famous person is stalking you or experimenting on you. And schizophrenia is one of the few reasons the government can take you against your will into forced psychiatric incarceration where they can medicate you, drug you, keep you.
Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk with you about patient rights during a 5150.
Actually, I'll rearrange the statements as a question. I think that's going to drive the point home a little bit better. Let me ask you this. Let's travel over to the hypothetical dimension, somewhere else, not here. We don't live there, somewhere else, just for a few seconds. Let's say we're in a reality where Beyonce and Jay-Z are serial stalker witchcraft practitioners who are abusing people and stealing their IP and killing their kittens with witchcraft and magic or anything else, poison. In that dimension over there, where do these purported victims go for help, justice? Because the allegation that Beyonce or Jay-Z could possibly be involved in this type of activity is dismissed outright by federal judges as delusional without ever hearing or seeing any evidence. Sua sponte on their own, without anybody responding, they just said, no, it's delusional. I don't know, it's just things to think about. But then there's all these alternative allegations that no, Beyonce is not a mastermind, extreme witch. On the contrary. En contraire. She is
I seen that, babe.
Herself, and she is trapped.
They're all dancing in the middle of people. I seen that one.
Some clips from the more conspiratorial side of the social media, and I'll let you know what the girlies and everybody else been saying about all that. Hopefully we don't have to start a free Beyonce movement anytime soon.
There's been a lot of speculation lately that Jay-Z is holding Beyonce hostage in their marriage and giving her illegal substances to keep her under control. Many fans have also noticed that Beyonce completely lost her spark ever since Jay got exposed for cheating, and they're saying it's truly terrifying how hypnotized and dazed Beyonce looks these days.
But yeah, I set out to investigate whether or not Beyonce is an extreme witch and pretty much intended to debunk very easily that Beyonce is an extreme witch, but I haven't seen it debunked anywhere in court. And even the witches themselves, purported witches, they couldn't really tell me whether she's an extreme witch or not. The extreme witch allegations were not dismissed on any factual grounds. They were dismissed because there was a failure to prosecute. Was there a settlement? I don't know, but there was allegedly a settlement in the now dismissed as frivolous Charlene Latham case. And I could keep going like this for probably like a year or something. Anyway, that's all I really had for today. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation. Love you, mean to get bye.
Okay. That was BJ Investigates. So do not take that video down because we're just reviewing it for promo use only, buddy.
The first step to tackling your credit card debt.
Oh, really? You want to put me on blast? You want to put me on blast? How dare you? I think we got into that. Yeah, we did. We got into that.
I have a. He's right behind you. Sorry. I have a motion that I need to make.
He ain't right. He's supposed to. I don't know how to answer that.
I mean, but what were they telling you such that you thought that you had to kill Thug?
Say it again.
What were they telling you such that you thought in your mind you wanted to kill him?
That to watch him because everybody's saying I killed Nut and they didn't want that on them, so they gonna I don't put it on me. I don't know. Like, it was so many different people just telling me stuff. So,
but to kill somebody, what were they telling you to make you think you had to kill Thug?
What did they tell me that made me think I had to kill him?
Yes.
That I better watch him?
Why?
Because they said I was messing up his career. Like, they saying that I was pulling him in stuff that I got going on. Like, they were saying all type of stuff. Like,
so why would you?
Navan, it's the business travel platform that's taking the world by storm. Every employee can book their own flight.
Messing up his career mean you have to kill Thug.
They was telling me, okay, a female came to me and told me that she heard something. Then another person came to me and told me that he heard something. So people kept coming to me, and I was paranoid because I had said something to a friend of mine where I felt as in whatever I was saying to him had got back out.
I believe that people thought that you killed Nut.
Did I believe it?
Yes.
People were convinced.
Okay. By the time we got to June, did you still have that same belief? When you got arrested?
I had that belief?
Yes. When you got arrested in June, did you still have that same belief that people thought you had done, that you had killed Nut?
I don't know. Like, so many. It was so many people was on. So many people just like. A lot of people said they know I didn't do it. But a lot of people said I did it. So I don't.
And I'll ask you again, did you kill Nut?
No.
All right, lots there. But before we chat, let's take a look at what Copeland said in his police interview, which was played for the jury on Monday.
What's up, man? It ain't nothing I can do about it, man. I didn't have nothing to do with this. I didn't kill him. I didn't have him killed. I ain't never tried to fight him. I ain't never tried to rob him. I ain't never done nothing to nothing. Me and Kelly, we don't see each other plenty times in the street. I ain't never did that to each other. It's been plenty times. Ain't never in life, man, like never. I'm so frustrated, man. I call my brother, man. Then the advice he gave me, it ain't no good. What advice your brother gave you that you think is no good? I told her, I don't want to call her, but call the police and come to the house. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I usually tell y'all, but it ain't gonna be nothing y'all can do. You know what I'm saying? From what people say, retarded. Kid was supposed to be retarded, something like that. You know what I'm saying? But I ain't scared of him. You know what I'm saying? It's more to life, bro. It's like, no matter what I do, everybody always blame me for stuff. So I know it's a lot of people against me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm frustrated, man. I can't. I can't out here. I want the big car. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I didn't know. People like, man, they'll lock you up. They can't lock me up. I didn't do it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell them. They're like, man, but they keep telling me to wait. And this, I don't want to wait. I don't want none of this, but I now get out of the way. Then when I do, then wait. Just do what somebody tell me. When I go down there and tell y'all, and y'all go out there, who gonna stop me? Yes, I'm damn afraid now. Who gonna stop me? I really am scared, man. Like, it might seem crazy, but you know, did you hear anything on the street about who may be beefing with Nut? I didn't know Kev been running around shooting place. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But me and ever got to it, he never did that. Mm-hmm. You know, came set up together now. Mm-hmm. But this ain't the first time he did it. This is the first time he did it. He shot everybody up. You know what I'm saying? But then nobody knew it was him. Mm-hmm. And then he got to it with his girl. She came back and said it was him. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's why.
All y'all who was saying this is a scam deserve to be dragged all over the internet. If y'all enjoy being broke and ignoring Uncle Sam when they handing out $5,000 to folks that are broke and ain't on Medicaid, then y'all stay broke. But don't be getting in the way of other people's bag just because you're too lazy and dumb to claim some bread. That's more for us who really deserve it and know that scared money don't make no money. The crazy thing is this state program from Uncle Sam is like them stimulus checks a couple years ago, so it ain't hard to believe or nothing. What, just because you gotta apply for it first, it must be a scam? Hell nah, it's 5 bands. Of course you gotta put in a little effort to see if you're eligible, dummy. Y'all can apply on this link below right here and see for yourself. Unless you a bum, you gon'
over the past 9.5 years since he made that statement, he's been able to change what he had to say and more refine it to appear better to a jury. When you talk about additionally about the hearsay, remember, under the federal rules of evidence, statements made by co-conspirators prior to Miranda being issued can be used against somebody against somebody else if it's in furtherance of a conspiracy.
Right, exactly. I mean, this whole hearsay situation is something I think that is getting into the very point that you just made. All right, Serena, one of the things that I'm thinking about here is the fact that the prosecution is trying to say Young Thug did this murder of Donovan Thomas. But here we have Copeland, who allegedly said he did it. I mean, they're pinning each other against each other, obviously. But what evidence is there really that Young Thug was involved in this murder?
It's going to be very difficult. It's already difficult to prove a RICO case, especially when you have uncooperative witnesses or evidence that's really not perfect. When you then have a totally different person coming on the stand who made an admission years prior that he was actually the killer, it throws more than a wrench in the prosecution's case. This is a very difficult hill to be able to traverse.
Exactly. And Matt, you know, I just have to focus on Copeland and how he is coming across to this jury. Do you think they're seeing him as credible? I mean, if he in fact did admit to the murder and now he's on the stand and he's trying to say, look, you know, I was just defending myself. I wanted to make sure that, you know, Young Thug wasn't after me, I'm after him.
What's up,
People
Ghost?
making me believe this. How is that jury looking at that testimony?
They are at times looking at it with a little sense of skepticism. Remember, with this whole case, how long it's taken to get to trial. Jury selection itself took about 8 months, and here we are.
Free Flock, Free Thug, Free Melly.
So the jury
Shout out
looking at him like, okay, why is he saying one thing?
Damn, look at Thugger.
Kind of telling us something, not really being able to explain it better. He's coming off credible, but I don't think what they're believing what he's actually saying at times. Like the way he presents, it is.
Hey, can y'all get my likes up real quick?
The truth is much easier to testify.
There's little 3 dots that are right here, boop, and you just hit the like button, boop.
So I ultimately don't know
easy.
how much the jury
It's
is
really
going to buy
easy.
all this, but he's coming across credible, but the jury believing him is a completely different story.
Exactly. And, you know, Serena, one of the things I want.
Regardless, this man already put himself in that hole, man. He already decided, he already told them boys, he already told the laws everything they wanted to hear. He already told the law every single thing they wanted to hear. So why stop now? Like, why stop now? Because you're literally like
Reputations
in front
are
of
earned.
them.
They're built with hard work, time, and consistency. They're respected, trusted.
Ladies and gentlemen, jury, good morning. All right. We're going to go ahead and continue with the examination from our current witness. Mr. Copeland, still under oath, okay?
Hey, it was funny. That other one she was making me laugh, bro.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, Mr. Copeland, I want to direct your attention to Saturday, January 10th,
2015, the night that Dr. Thomas was killed. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Do you remember that day, the night that Dr. Thomas got killed?
No.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Did you ever go to the police on either the night of or the early morning hours after Mr. Dr. Thomas got killed?
Objection. Ask and answer.
Overruled, sir.
Free Flock, free Doug, free Millie.
Okay.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
Okay. In the early morning hours after Dr. Thomas got killed, did you go to the police?
I think the police called me. Like,
Did you go down to the police department after the police called you?
I think.
All right. I want you to go back to that day before Dr. Thomas got killed. I want you to tell the jurors what you remember about the day that Dr. Thomas got killed.
I got a call saying that I don't know how, I can't recall how it was here. I remember getting a call saying that I killed Nut.
That you killed Nut.
The word was, I got a call and people were saying that, am I okay? They saying I killed Nut.
Oh, I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Before you got a phone call, can you tell the jurors where you were that morning before you got the phone call saying that I killed Nut?
What you mean? Why was that morning?
Where were you that day? Do you remember that day though? Were you at your girlfriend's house that morning?
Oh, yeah.
So tell the jurors what you remember about that entire day up until you got that phone call.
I was at my girl's house.
And what happened while you were at your girl's house?
Nothing.
All right. Did you ever leave? Let me ask you, what's your girlfriend's name?
I'm single.
Back in 2015, what was your girlfriend's name?
Do I have to answer that?
Yes.
Deshaun?
All right. So, what side of town was Deshaun living in back in 2015?
Carver home.
Okay. And did you wake up at Deshaun's house in Carver Home that morning that you learned about Donovan being killed?
I was in the car when I found out he got killed.
I said that morning. Before you found out when he got killed, we're going to talk about that morning. Were you at Deshaun's home?
Yes.
All right.
Vivint Home Security is trusted by millions of people because Vivint is a best-in-class, professionally installed security system of cameras, lights, locks, and more. And those nifty bits and bobs don't just record crime, they help prevent it.
Get hassle-free smart security with Vivint. Click or call today.
What's your credit card debt balance? If it's $10,000 or more, here are 3 easy solutions you can start implementing today. And number 3 is an absolute game changer. Number 1, the first step to tackling your credit card debt is understanding how much debt you actually have and how long it could follow you around for if you're only making minimum payments or have fallen behind. Minimum payments.
When you were at her house, were you there by yourself?
I was asleep.
Okay. At some point, did you wake up?
I had to. I'm here today.
All right. And when you woke up, what did you do?
I came out the house, I guess. I went out that door.
All right. Where did you go?
To my neighborhood.
When you say to your neighborhood, what do you mean?
To my neighborhood.
Is that Mechanicsville?
Yes.
Okay. How did you get to Mechanicsville?
I think I drove.
All right. And did you have your own car?
I was in my brother's car.
All right. And back in 2015, where did your brother live?
In the same place.
Is that Carver Homes?
I think so.
All right. And which brother lived in Carver Homes?
My brother.
Which one?
What you mean, which one?
You have three, right?
Yeah.
Which of the three brothers live in Carver Homes?
Trez.
All right. Do you remember what time you went over to Mechanicsville?
No.
Do you remember what you did in Mechanicsville when you went over there?
No.
Did you go anywhere after leaving Mechanicsville?
Object to the form of this question. I'll stay in this form. You can rephrase.
Did you leave Mechanicsville?
I think so.
And when you left Mechanicsville, did you go anywhere?
At what point in time?
After you left Mechanicsville, did you go anywhere after leaving Mechanicsville, from what you remember?
Yeah.
Do you remember where you went?
Pick the D up.
Okay. And which little D are you talking about?
The one that always be with me.
Okay. Is that the little D you referenced as your son?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember where you picked little D up? Where did you pick little D up at?
A McDonald's.
Okay. Where was the McDonald's?
On Cleveland Avenue.
And when you got to the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue, was there anyone else with little D?
Just him and Shannon.
Anyone else?
Just him and Shannon.
When you picked up little D, what did Shannon do?
What you mean?
You said you picked little D up. Did you also pick up Shannon?
I said I picked up both of them.
Okay. And when you picked up both of them, where did you all go?
I blinked out after that.
You blanked out after that. Okay. Why did you blank out?
Because they were saying that I got phone calls saying that I did something.
Do you remember who called you?
Yeah.
Who?
Moonton.
And do you recall how he called you? Did he call you on FaceTime? Did he call you on the phone?
I just know he asked me what I got going on, or if I heard what happened, or I don't know what he said. I just know he said that, I mean, people saying that I killed Nut, and he was calling.
Now let me ask you this: did you kill Nut? Did you kill Nut?
No.
Now, when Moonton called you, was both Shannon and Little D in the car when Moonson called you?
Huh?
Was Shannon and Little D in the car when Moonson called you?
I think so.
Now, before Moonson called you, did you, Shannon and Little D, have any conversation about Nut being killed?
No.
You've made it to the belly of the beast. Very few come this far. To stay here, you must make it your obsession, or the beast will spit you right.
Now, after you got off the phone with Moonson, did you, Shannon, and Little D go anywhere?
Huh?
You said you were on the phone with Moonson in the car.
I blinked out. Like, I know I end up in a whole lot of places. Every time I looked around, I was somewhere different.
Later that evening, did you, as we talked earlier, go to the police department?
No.
The night that you learned about Nut's death, and Moonson called you, at some point, did you ever go to the police department?
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, you say ask and answer? Correct. All right, I'll sustain the objection.
On the morning of January 11th, did you ever speak with police?
Yeah, same question. Overruled, sir.
Say that again.
On the morning of January 11th, did you ever speak with police about Nut being killed?
Yeah, the police called me.
And did you go to the police department?
Same objection. Overruled, sir.
They called you. Did you go to the police department and speak to the police?
Yeah, I think.
How did you get to the police department?
I got dropped off.
By who?
I think Moonton dropped me off. I ain't for sure. I can't recall.
You can't recall.
But I think that's who dropped me off. I just remember my brother and them met me down there. I think that night.
Now, Mr. Copeland.
How does he not know?
June 13, 2024. Prior to today, had you ever, I want to make sure I understand, told police that Little D and Shannon got into your vehicle?
I'll sustain the objection.
Is today the first time that you told police or told anyone?
Which day?
How can he sustain the objection?
Yesterday, did you tell me and my colleagues that Shannon and Little Brian, this is
I'm gonna overrule the objection.
Yesterday, did you tell myself and my colleagues, Ms. Love and others, about Little D and Shannon being in your vehicle?
Yes, he has a little D.
Yesterday.
R.I.P. Little D, by the way.
Did you tell myself, Ms. Love, and a few of my other colleagues that Little D and Shannon were in the car with you the night of the murder of Diamond Thomas?
I told you and them that what I told investigators in June when Nut got killed, something different, because I was trying to finesse my way out of a situation. So I said, I picked up D and Shannon. D never told me nothing. I made it up to clear myself up. And that's it.
And was that yesterday that you said that? Did you tell us that yesterday, what you just said?
You asked me to be truthful. And I didn't, and I told you. What I told the investigator back then wasn't me being truthful. So I'm telling you something that I didn't tell them because I ain't trying to go back to jail.
I got it. But I asked you was yesterday. The first time you said this part, and now what you're saying today is what is true. Right now, what you're trying to tell the jury right now, is truthful.
You, our conversation about
Actually,
Okay, all right.
I thought he was done.
Mr. Copeland, you need to finish your answer,
no,
sir?
I need a break, Young.
Say again?
I need a break.
You need to use the restroom?
No, I need a break. Like, I need a break.
Sir, it's not time for us to take a break at this point
Well,
in time.
okay.
Okay? I mean, unless you need to go to the bathroom or some other reason, we're not gonna break at this point in time.
Do you need a few moments?
Hello?
Grandma, I'm in jail.
Oh my God!
Mailed $10,000.
How did you think this was real? Am I supposed to just let them have it?
Was yesterday the first time that you told?
I asked Mr. Copeland to finish his answer if he was still. I don't think he's finished. I think he's finished, Mr. Steele. So I'll overrule that objection.
Was yesterday the first time that you told anyone from the state that what you said back in January of 2015 was a lie? And that you were trying to finesse your way out of what you told them back in January of 2015.
I told that to the investigators when they was questioning me at a certain point.
What investigator?
Y'all questioned me so many times, I don't know.
Back in 2015, did you go to the police again on January 11, 2015?
I'll sustain the objection.
Did you also go to the police on January 28, 2015?
I don't know no dates, but if you know that if I went to them, you could just see it.
Did you also go and speak with the police on February 20th, 2015?
If that's what it say.
And what about on February 21st, 2015?
If that's what it say.
And then what about on June 10th, 2015?
If that's what it say.
Let me ask you this. In your interview on January 11, 2015, do you recall your girlfriend's mother's home being shot up?
Was it?
Do you recall it? I'm asking, do you recall her mother's home being shot up that night after Nut was killed?
I don't know if it was the same night or the next night.
Do you also recall that the stepdad's house was shot up that same evening?
I will object. Basis. I'll sustain this to form. You can rephrase me.
When the young thug's stepdad's house shot up the night that Nut
I don't know.
got killed. When you went to the police on January 11, 2015, did you go there on your own?
Nope.
Did the police come and get you to go to the police station, or did someone drop you off?
I'm gonna overrule the objection.
Did you voluntarily go down to the police station that night?
No, I didn't volunteer. He called me.
And did he tell you you had to come down there, or did you decide to go down there yourself?
Well, he told me to come down, and people told me to go down there because
Is there an objection, sir? Just state what it is. Okay, let me see if he's finished his response. Mr. Copeland, are you finished? Or do you need to say something else to complete that last question you were asked?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I was told to go down there and speak with the police.
Okay, all right.
Do you recall in 2015 telling law enforcement officers that you were calling to get advice on whether or not you should go down and speak to the police because your name was coming up in the murder?
Can you say the first part again?
Sure. Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe in his January 11, 2015 interview that you were calling around getting advice to decide whether or not you should come down to the police department because people were putting your name in the murder?
I don't know. I know when he called me, didn't know what to do, so that's why I was told to go down there. Yeah, I'm finished.
Do you recall telling Detective Thorpe in that same January 11, 2015 interview that people told you not to go down there and to wait till the police called you